This year marks 50 years since the end of Australia's involvement in the Vietnam War, and Australian War Widows of New South Wales is marking the occasion today with their annual Field of Remembrance. Ariana Levy joins us now from St Andrew's Cathedral in Sydney. Ari, good morning. So what does the Field of Remembrance event look like this year?
Good morning, Michael. Well, this year it's the first time without restrictions that the lovely ladies from the War Widows of Australia will be able to celebrate the annual Field of Remembrance. And with me right now is the CEO of the Australian War Widows of New South Wales, Renee Wilson. Renee, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, Renee, can you just tell me a bit about the Field of Remembrance? How did it sort of begin?
Absolutely. The Field of Remembrance has a very long history. It began in England when one of our members travelled to England, saw a similar service and decided it was time to put War Widows front and centre of a commemorative service. So we've been doing it for 71 years now.
And what I find particularly beautiful about this ceremony, I understand they cremate the crosses after they've planted them?
Yeah, so all War Widows are invited to come forward and lay a cross on behalf of their loved one. And this year we're adding a nice bit for veterans' families as well, who will lay some wattle that represents the resilience of their families. And you're quite right, traditionally the crosses have been then taken, cremated and spread across battlefields in Europe. However, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that for a couple of years, so we're looking forward to being able to do that again this year.
And this Field of Remembrance is held a little bit earlier than ANZAC Day. Can you tell me a bit about why?
War Widows has always been an organisation predominantly around advocacy and support. So for them, they want to get as many people involved as possible so that the rest of the general public can understand the costs of war and can understand that it impacts them for the rest of their lives as well. So it's traditionally held 5 days before ANZAC Day to give it some space from the crowded services, but as well because it had traditionally enabled the public to get involved. We'd had a field in Hyde Park where the public could come and lay a cross, and even though we haven't been able to do that for the last couple of years and we're not doing it this year, we're looking forward to bringing that back prior to ANZAC Day next year.
And as a war widow yourself, you've joined the commemoration, but you're not exactly a widow. Can you just tell me a bit about how that works?
Yeah, so my story, my husband was in a Black Hawk accident in Afghanistan and served alongside the commandos here in Sydney. I probably came as close to being a war widow as what you can get, but he survived and he's still with us today. But I was drawn to War Widows because it's the only organisation that I have seen basically stand up and say we want to be here for veterans' families as well. And I felt that it was part of my role, having experienced a lot of gaps in the system for families, to help war widows along that journey.
Beautiful, and it's a beautiful ceremony that happens. Certainly going to be quite a lovely day of remembrance for many of the families that have been impacted by the Defence Services, and how they'll be able to have this moment this morning to sort of commemorate and remember those loved ones that they may have lost.
Ari, thank you, and lovely conversation.